Talk 322. A cultured lady, daughter of a well known solicitor of Madras, asked, "What should one do in order to remain free from thoughts as advised by you? Is it only the inquiry, who am I? Maharishi. Only to remain still. Do it and see. Devotee. It is impossible. Maharishi. Exactly. For the same reason, the inquiry, who am I, is advised. Devotee. Raising the question, no response comes from within. Maharishi. What kind of response do you expect? Are you not there? What more? Devotee. Thoughts rise up more and more, Maharishi. Then and there raise the same question, who am I? Devotee. Should I do so as each thought arises? Well, is the world our thought only? Maharishi. Leave this question to the world. Let it ask, how did I come into being? Devotee. Do you mean that it is not related to me? Maharishi. Nothing is perceived in deep sleep. All these are seen only after waking. Only after thoughts arise, the world comes into being. What can it be but thought? Another visitor asked, what should we do to make the mind still? Maharishi. First, let the mind be caught hold of and brought here. Then we shall consider ways and means of stilling it. Devotee. I meant to say that it is always changing even when we do our japa. Maharishi. Japa is meant only for stilling the mind. Devotee. What japa is good for it? Maharishi. Anything suitable such as Gayatri. Devotee. Will Gayatri do? Maharishi. Can anything excel it? Only those who cannot do it look for others. It contains the whole range of truth in it. Chanting japa will lead to meditation, and it is the means for realizing the self. Devotee. Will half an hour a day do for it? Maharishi. It must be done always, or as long as you can. Talk 323. While explaining stanza 6 in Arunachal Astaka, Sri Bhagwan observed as follows. The final word in the previous stanza asks, is there one? The initial words in the present stanza answers, yes, there is the one. It proceeds, though it is the only one, yet by its wonderful power it gets reflected on the tiny dot I, the ego, otherwise known as ignorance or the aggregate of latent tendencies. This reflected light is relative knowledge. This, according to one's prarabdha, past karma, now fructifying, manifests the inner latent tendencies as the outer gross world and withdraws the gross external world as a subtle internal tendencies. Such power is called mind in the subtle plane and brain in the physical plane. This mind or brain acts as the magnifier to the eternal one being and shows it forth as the expanded universe. In the waking and dream states, the mind is outward bent, and in sleep it is inward bent. When the mind as a medium, the one supreme being seems diversified in the waking and dream states and remains withdrawn in the sleep state or swoon, etc. Therefore, you are only that and cannot be otherwise. Whatever the changes, the same one being remains as yourself. There is nothing besides yourself. The previous stanza says, once exposed to sunlight, a sensitive plate cannot take on images. Similarly, the mind, the sensitive plate after exposure in your light, cannot reflect the world anymore. Moreover, the sun is of you only. Should his rays be so powerful as to prevent images being formed, how much more so should your light be? It is thus said that there is nothing apart from the one being yourself. In the present stanza, the tiny dot that equals to the ego, the tiny dot made up of darkness equals to the ego consisting of latent tendencies, the seer or the subject or the ego rising. It expands itself as the seen, the object or the antakarans, the inner organs.